Jamie is an entrepreneur that helps business owners create businesses that give them freedom and help them create long-term wealth. We all know that it's a necessity to drive traffic into your business if you want to scale, but sometimes we drive traffic to the wrong places or places that aren't really optimized to get us conversions. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a few adjustments that Jamie could make to instantly increase her conversion rates so she makes more sales without needing to change a single thing. Not additional ad spend, not additional staff, literally just a few changes that will instantly increase her conversion rate. Now, the first thing to realize here is along the top we have a banner. This highlights that this is probably a website and just a page within it. If we are going to drive traffic to this, we want to have one outcome. One clear outcome, one clear goal. We don't want to give them the ability to click onto different pages because even though it's a small thing, it's one additional barrier where leads might click off, go to a different page, get distracted, then you lose a conversion. Instead, we want to use a funnel. A funnel is set up with one clear outcome. If that outcome is getting a lead to book a call, the outcome might be getting a lead to make a purchase. Whatever the outcome is, we optimize it for that one thing. It means instead of trying to do everything half as good, we can do one thing to the best of our ability and get the highest conversion rate possible. So if we were to drive traffic to this, we'd want to get rid of this banner and just have it as a funnel. Now we then move on to this main section at the top, which is the hero banner, which the words flow incredibly nicely. The place where soul-led entrepreneurs turn their voice into a legacy and their work into generational wealth. It's really clear who she's working with. However, a big thing that we need to realize is the majority of traffic nowadays will come from mobile. You'll have a huge amount of mobile traffic landing on your pages. And if we landed on this on mobile, this is a huge chunk of text. So there's two things to think about with this one. The first one being that leads interact differently. Some leads like reading, some leads are more sort of skim readers. They'll skim through a page. The second thing is there's a concept called above the fold. Essentially, when we land on a page, all of the content that we see before having to scroll is called above the fold. We then have a few seconds to grab their attention and make it clear ultimately what the outcome is and who we're trying to work with and the impact that we're trying to give them before that lead then clicks off. Otherwise, we very much are reliant on that lead having to scroll through the page, which not everyone will do. Especially in today's world where attention is at the lowest that it's ever been, we want to make sure that we capture people as quickly as possible. Now, a few things to think about this one is it's identity driven and aspirational, not about a course or a tactic, but about becoming someone. So her whole thing isn't just about having a course or helping someone achieve something in their business, it's helping them become a person, ultimately the person that is going to build their business, build a legacy and create generational wealth. What this then does is ultimately the background as well. It also falls into the sort of visual aspect of people trying to visualize what their life will be like and the legacy that they're leaving behind. It's a big thing for a lot of business owners wanting to leave something for their family, their children, their parents, their siblings, whatever it might be. A lot of the time people get into business because they want to support those close to them. So this leans on that well. And this is a big thing regardless of what niche you're in. If you're building funnels specific for people, leaning into ultimately like what their main pain point is. People buy based off pain and emotion, and if we can lean into that and then give them the solution to that, that's going to have a far higher outcome than if we just had a headline with some text. One of the main points here is why it works so well is visitors instantly feel the big vision. It attracts people to want business growth, but without losing authenticity or alignment, ultimately helping them build a business that aligns to them. I think we're in a world where everyone ends up, for the most part, building very similar businesses to each other, so it's cool that she positions herself in a slightly different format, which I think is attractive to a lot of people. This section then stands out even more because she's helping people build a business that feels like peace. Instead of just building a chaotic business that has great revenue, but you don't have any peace, you don't have any profit, you don't have any purpose, what she's then trying to do here is just build something that ultimately gives them peace and allow them to build something that will support all of their family around them. What she then also does is it's aspirational as well. Come home to the business you were always meant to build. It's aspirational because she's showing that she supports people and people can aspire to build the business that they were meant to. At the same time, people feel a sense of sort of ease with it because it's talking about coming home. People feel safe, people feel comfortable in that environment. Then we're into the Meet Jamie section. Now in this section, it works really well because it humanizes her with the brand. You feel like you get to know her by reading this and seeing this. But one thing that I'd instantly do to try and stand out even more is I get the whole concept of wanting this to be on brand, of course, but ultimately we would prefer a little bit more conversion than just having something visually laid out. So what I'd look at doing is making these call to actions a little bit clearer. It blends in. I get the whole point of having branding to blend in, but the whole goal is we want this to stand out so it's really clear and people can instantly see the next outcome. So we could then make this an ugly color, change the text, add a little bit of animation. We don't even have to add animation if it doesn't sync in with the rest of the page, but definitely adding a slightly different color ultimately to help it stand out. If we can have the call to action stand out a little bit better, then it's clearer for people what they need to do. Alongside that as well, I'd look at having a call to action a little bit higher up as well, because we have to go through first section, second section, third section before we have a call to action. That is also a little bit hidden as well. This next section leans on what a lot of people want. They want to build a lifestyle that gives them luxury. They have nice houses, they have nice cars, so she's playing on this with the background. But what she's then also doing is using an aspirational message block. So you opened your business for freedom, let's get you there. People want freedom, and I think when they start the business, they have the perception that it will be easy. It won't, and they end up getting so caught up in their business, either they don't have any time or they have lots of time but no money. Ultimately meaning that it taps into the core desire of her target audience, which is freedom. Now she has 3 different options. Essentially, she's got 3 different offers that she wants to push people into. I would suggest it would make more sense to look at pushing different offers at different times and having certain funnels for each one, because we can come onto this, and if I ultimately don't know what I want to buy yet, for the most part, a lot of people don't, they need to be guided in the direction of what they actually need to get them to the outcome that they want. I would be a bit lost. I wouldn't know which one exactly to go for, so we could build out funnels specific for each one, so it's then clear. Each funnel then talks about the specific outcome that the funnel and the program will get them to. So instead of lumping them together, we could have separate funnels for each, or if we are going to have them together, we just need a way of potentially making it clearer which one is what. And what we could even then do is we could have a little bit of a quiz that people could submit, so it's really interactive, that then assigns them the perfect offer. People then have the thought process taken away from them. They don't have to think. The quiz does it for them, and it's interactive, so the conversion rate will be higher. What it also means is people will then essentially have to opt in, so we'll gather data before, so then we actually build up a contact list that we can remarket to if they then don't go on to purchase. We don't want to obviously just create extra additional barriers for people, but we do want to realize that it will probably help increase conversion rates because people then understand what they need. We would then ultimately split test this, so we'd keep a funnel page like this, and then we'd test the new variation, send 50% of traffic to each, and then we'd be able to assess which one's performing the best. Now we then move on to a podcast section, which of course it makes sense for her to push her podcast because she gets listeners, it builds the brand awareness. But if we have this as a funnel page, we have too much going on. We've got 3 options here, a 4th option here. It creates overwhelm for people. However, with the podcast option, you can see that you piggyback off the back of Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So people already have some trust with those logos, so it helps them feel at ease straight away. However, in my opinion, it's too many options. When we give someone a lot of options, they end up taking less action. We then move down into the quiz section, which potentially will then qualify them for which program fits, but then it's just another thing to add to it. We've got 5 options now. Add to that, we've then also got these options along the top where they can click to different pages. So we're getting towards 10 different options that they could have on a page, which ultimately just creates a lot of overwhelm. And overwhelm can lead to friction, and friction then leads to less sales. She then uses a personal brand anchor section to deepen emotional connection, not just for business, but about who she is and what she stands for. You'll see that she is quite a sort of text-heavy brand, which is great. It syncs in with her brand, it syncs in with the design and the imagery. What I'd potentially look at doing is testing having a VSL on here as well, because we have to realize that different types of leads consume content differently. Some prefer text, some prefer video. So we could then use a VSL slightly higher up towards the top and have captions on this so people can read and they can watch and listen, which means we tap into both areas. Alongside this as well, this obviously syncs in with her brand design. However, it is a little bit hard to read, especially on this whiter background. So potentially that's then another barrier that then people end up not reading as well. We then get down to the footer, and obviously because this is a website page, she has the footer with all her different links. However, it's an additional barrier that a lot of people might see. They might get distracted, click off onto different pages. And I know that sounds like a really small thing, But when we're looking to get conversions and make sales, we want to do everything physically in our power to make as many sales as possible and not just have things that are going to be like a leaky bucket. One thing that I'd say with this as well is when we get down towards this lower section, we don't have any call to action for her specific programs. We're very much going off onto different links, so Instagram, TikTok, podcasts, all these different things. Ultimately, we have the quiz, we have these offers, and then we have a call to action. It's not spaced out enough, in my opinion, with enough call to action so people can take action at no matter what point they are in the funnel, because we have to realize that different things will resonate with different leads, and we want to give them the ability to take action no matter where they are in the funnel. Another thing that we could add to this as well is a little chat widget in the corner that could link through to WhatsApp. We have to realize as well that leads have the lowest level of trust that they ever have done right now. We want to make everyone feel at ease, and a lot of the time if they have a little bit of rapport with someone first, they're more likely to buy. It doesn't have to be a human, it can be AI that sounds like a human, but what it then does is it will increase conversion rates because people feel like they've been listened to and their problems understood and they've been given a solution that will help. That's how Jamie lays out her funnel with incredible branding, but a few changes that she could make to instantly increase conversions without more paid ads, without more organic content, without hiring more staff. A few changes, instantly more conversions.